Welcome to Quickcasts from Yoga for First Responders. I'm Eric Brenneman, and in these bite-sized episodes, we'll bring you quick insights and practical tips on the power of yoga, breathwork, mindfulness, and meditation specifically for first responders. Whether you're on a quick break or between calls, we've got a nugget of wisdom to help you stay resilient and focused. Let's dive right in. This is On Air with Yoga for First Responders. I'm Eric Brenneman, president of the organization, former firefighter, instructor, all things amazing for YFFR. I've got a quick cast episode for you today. Today, I want to challenge a myth that's been floating around the tactical community for some time. It pops up on my social media thread from time to time. And so the concept here is that the idea of fitness alone defines readiness. Okay. I want to challenge that. I want to challenge that fitness alone defines readiness. Because while fitness gets you to the fight, it's your brain and your breath that are going to keep you in it. That's the argument I'm going to make over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Fitness gets you to the fight, but it's your brain and your breath that are going to keep you in it. So today's topic is beyond fitness, the missing half of tactical readiness. So imagine this. You're on a scene at a fully involved structure fire for those of you that are firefighters. It's 2 a.m. The smoke is heavy, visibility near zero. You're running the line and your partner disappears around the corner. Suddenly your radio crackles. Mayday, mayday, mayday. I'm lost and low on air. If you are in public safety, those words can haunt you until the day, quite frankly, you take your last breath. Mayday, mayday, mayday. I'm lost and low on air. So that's your partner. So what happens to you? You're going to feel your pulse jump. You're going to feel your breathing start to pound away. Your chest tightens as adrenaline starts to flood your system. In that instant, everything you've trained for physically, all the workouts and all the drills are going to take a back seat to what's happening inside your brain. Because in that moment, readiness isn't about how much you can lift. It's all about whether you can stay calm enough to make a decision that saves your partner's life. That's the missing half of tactical readiness, cognitive durability. There it is, cognitive durability. So for decades, public safety has been built upon a foundation of physical toughness. I get it. We glorify the workout, the hard charger, the one who never quits, and quite frankly, rightfully so. This job demands strength, stamina, and grit. Public safety does. And so we need to train on that. But somewhere along the line, we started to believe that physical strength was the only kind of strength that mattered. We started labeling anything that didn't make us sweat as soft. And yes, yoga will make you sweat. Sleep hygiene, soft. Breathing training, too spiritual. Mindset work, not measurable. And that belief that fitness alone equals readiness is incomplete. And frankly, it's costing us as an industry. So let's look at what the data actually says. When stress hits, the brain's prefrontal cortex, the big part up here, the part that controls judgment, focus, and fine motor skills, it starts to shut down. Adrenaline takes over. We said it before, your heart rate's going to spike. Cognitive tunnel vision narrows your perception. You have felt these things. And Dr. Amy Arnsten at Yale calls it stress-induced prefrontal cortex dysfunction. And it's the exact physiological reason that seasoned firefighters miss radio calls, officers overreact, and soldiers freeze. It's not weakness. It's biology. And then there's sleep. A study out of the University of Pennsylvania found that even moderate sleep restriction, just 2 hours less than normal per night, makes your reaction time up to 300% slower. 3 times slower. Now imagine making a mayday decision or pulling a trigger at that level of impairment. We would never tolerate that kind of performance on the fireground. And yet, it's happening every day. At Yoga for First Responders, we approach readiness from the inside out. We train the nervous system the same way you train the body. Our programs aren't yoga for flexibility. I didn't say that. It's yoga for first responders. They're protocols built from the ground up using neuroscience, breath science, and the psychology of your stress response. We have 2 published research studies that have already validated the work. In one, participants demonstrated significant reductions in stress reactivity and improvements in physiological balance. That's right, we changed their stress appraisal mindset from thinking that stress is a threat to stress is a challenge. In another, data suggested that YFFR practices could serve as a preventative tool for PTSD among active duty first responders. This isn't make believe, folks. This is real. These are published research studies. So I have to drive the point home. That's not wellness fluff. That's actually measurable operational performance for your men and women. And one of those studies, which was on our online tactical training, showed that participants literally changed how they perceive stress. I mentioned it before. We changed them from a threat mindset to a challenge mindset. That's a measurable shift in how the brain handles pressure. So why does this matter operationally? Well, when stress hits, you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of our training. We all know that. That's one of the sayings in public safety. It's why we train over and over and over and over again on those skills, on those drills, on those Mayday drills, so that you have the level of training you can fall back to save your partner. But you see, that training must include the nervous system. The physical fitness part of it, the drills, the sets and the reps, trains the body. YFFR is here to train the operator, your mind. We teach tactical breath work to regulate heart rate, to steady focus, and to preserve decision making. We run stress inoculation drills in gear under SCBA with restricted vision so the body and the brain learn to stay calm under chaos. We practice operational recovery because between the calls is where burnout builds. That's why we say fitness makes you strong and YFFR makes you durable. So think of this as a triangle of readiness. Picture readiness as that triangle or the 3 legs under a stool. The first side is physical fitness, the one you love: strength, stamina, endurance, hard charging. You can measure it, how many push-ups you can do, your VO2 max, grip tests, all that stuff. Super sexy, I get it. The second side of that triangle, though, is cognitive durability, composure, focus, emotional control. Turns out you can measure all of that too, using things like heart rate variability, reaction time, CO2 tolerance, things that we love at YFFR. And the third side is operational recovery, sleep, mindset, long-term sustainability. Because performance doesn't end when the call clears, you're literally just resetting it for the next one. When all 3 sides are trained, the system holds under pressure. Removing one of the 3 sides of that readiness triangle and the whole structure collapses. That's the YFFR model, integrated readiness. You see, I have a couple of real-world stories from the field. We do breathwork training with our firefighters. We have received testimonials that they're able to make their packs last much longer. One was able to keep their pack going after the vibra alert stopped for upwards of 15 minutes from the time the bell stops to the mask sucks to her face. That's time that she can increase her survivability. I have law enforcement officers that say that they're able to teach breathwork and mindset techniques to folks in the field so they could regulate the people's nervous system they were interacting with. So that while they still had to come with the law enforcement officer, the officer didn't have to cuff them and drag them out of their house. And these are kids for all intents and purposes in that story. It's a teenage girl. They say that they become better husbands and wives and partners and spouses because they get the opportunity to regulate their nervous system before they, boom, snap back at one of their kids. You see, that's part of the readiness triangle. The physical fitness will get you to the fight, but it's that mental durability that'll take you through. So we have the data to back this up. We have real world stories. So let's talk about what happens when we ignore that side of the readiness triangle. We see burnout rates climbing, they're not going down. We see divorce rates rising. We see suicide numbers that should stop every one of us in our tracks. And the numbers aren't going down. These numbers are only going up. And still, people say we need tougher recruits. Quite honestly, no. We in public safety need better training systems. Training that builds mental armor, not just muscles. Training that prepares responders to navigate the chaos without losing composure. Training that treats the nervous system as a tactical skill, not a side project. Quite frankly, that's why YFFR exists. One of the biggest objections we hear is you can't measure mindfulness. But the truth is, we can, and we do. We can track HRV, heart rate variability, to assess nervous system recovery. We can measure CO2 tolerance to see how efficiently a responder regulates breath under stress. And now we can even use EEG devices in the field to watch brainwave activity in real time during tactical drills. That's what we offer. That's what we bring. When we talk about brain training, this is not hypothetical anymore. This is the next frontier of performance science in public safety. Agencies that will lead the future, the ones who will reduce burnout, retain personnel, and save lives, will be those who train the full system: the body, the brain, and the breath. We call that complete readiness. The old model, push harder, sleep less, grind until you break, is failing. Our people deserve better. Your people deserve better. They deserve science-based tools that can make them more effective and more human at the same time. I spent over a decade in the fire service. My dad was a 30-year retired battalion chief before me. I know what it feels like to come home wired and exhausted, awake at 3 a.m. after shift, replaying the calls that you just can't shake. I know what it feels like to pretend you're fine when your system is screaming for recovery. Back then, I thought toughness meant silence. Now I understand that toughness, quite frankly, means control. Control over your breath, control over your nervous system, control over how you show up, not just on the job, but in life. That's why this work matters. It's not just about better performance, it's about better lives. So if you take one thing away from this episode, let it be this: fitness is essential. I agree, but it's incomplete. Without cognitive durability, strength fails when we need it the most. With cognitive durability, strength becomes precision. With cognitive durability, performance becomes longevity. With cognitive durability, we stop reacting and start responding. And YFFR provides the tools, the science, the structure, and the mission to train the nervous system the same way we train the body. Because fitness gets you to the fight, but brain training keeps you in it. If you want to dive deeper, download our new white paper, Beyond Fitness, the Missing Half of Tactical Readiness, at yogaforfirstresponders.org/white paper. Share it with your leadership, your wellness team, your peers. Hell, just share this podcast episode. It's got what the white paper has in it. And if you're ready to bring this training to your agency, reach out. We'll come to you. We'll prove through data, not theory, that readiness is more than a number on a fitness test. I'm Eric Brenneman. Thank you for listening. Thank you for serving. And thank you for the work you do to protect others. Until next time, I just ask you to stay safe, stay ready, and remember, you can't control what happens on the outside, but you can always control what happens on the inside. And that's what we're teaching at Yoga for First Responders.
Hey, before we go, I want to remind you that training your mental and physical health is incredibly important, especially for those working in high-stress jobs like first responders.
And if you're interested in learning more about yoga for first responders, visit yogaforfirstresponders.org for our on-demand training app, online course platform, in-person training, and more.
Like this podcast, subscribe, and give us a great review. We are so happy to have you part of the YFFR mission.